to find these on-the-job training and apprenticeship programs, there are a couple of ways that you can go about this. And this goes for get a job as well. That's pretty straightforward. You can help your child with that.
Don't go to the interview. I read that there was a trend of Gen Z taking their parents to the interview. Don't do that. Just help them research and find opportunities.
Well, what I was going to say is you can help them with that. I know that just from speaking with a lot of parents, for the most people, it's probably been a while since you yourself have looked for a job, but it's still pretty much the same. Doing the resumes, looking online, applying, following up, trying to find somebody, networking, all of that stuff. With finding on-the-job training and apprenticeship opportunities, the first way to go about doing it is the exact same. Is you have them structure their resume, you have them look up job opportunities, on-the-job training and apprenticeship opportunities. And the way you're going to do that is literally the same way that you would look for jobs. Instead of saying jobs, you would say on-the-job training or apprenticeship at the end, whatever the job title is, whatever the job roles are, and then on-the-job training, your area, apprenticeship, your area, or if you're looking for a remote thing, whatever, remote. And that will help to narrow it down and show you all the opportunities that exist in that arena. And then you just go ahead and put the resume out there. So that's the first way of doing it. The second way of doing it is something that we call BYOA, or build your own apprenticeship. And the way that this works is there are so many businesses out there. We are going to leverage the fact that there are so many small business owners. This is not a shade at anybody. They are not great at operating. Maybe this is a more positive spin on this. They're so good at operating that they have more business than to know what to do with. There are so many one-man shops or four-man teams or whatever, very small companies that need help, but they don't have the time or the effort to throw a job listing up, to throw an apprenticeship up, and maybe they don't have the money too. They're like, you know what? I can't hire another associate at 60 grand a year, but I mean, I have work. I can only pay whatever it is, $10 an hour, whatever the minimum wage is. And they're like, nobody's going to do it for that. I'm not even going to put it out there.
A few examples of what that would look like locally, and even in small towns, you can probably picture these places: upholstery shops, even that do marine or auto upholstery, people that do maybe really small boutique cake decorating, people that do vacuum repair, sometimes mobile mechanics will take people like that as well. There's a host of examples of this. Pet groomers is another one that people cannot keep up with demand, and they do train really often for that type of role. You just close your eyes and think of small local businesses in your town that you go, that's probably only 1 to 3 people that work there. And then those are the ones that you go in, and the ones that have been around a while and you know that they still exist and they're still doing business. Those are good examples, because the chances are as well, the owner is probably a little bit older and maybe not as tech savvy, and maybe not tech savvy enough to post a listing.
I want to stress that it doesn't necessarily just have to be something in the physical world.
Yeah, a digital marketing agency locally or something small like that.
It can be a small agency. So the reason why we're saying small as well is because usually your child isn't going to have to go through the red tape. Once they get to 20 plus, 50 plus overhead, there's HR involved, there's red tape involved, and there's like a process. They have to put down a process. Well, this is how we hire people. This is how we put out our job listings. This is how we give opportunities to everybody and all this stuff. Whereas 1 to 5 and then maybe 1 to 10 in overhead, that's a really smaller business. I mean, they could be doing millions and millions for sure. There's just not as many people on the team, and therefore you don't have to go through as much red tape of your child getting hired there, or your child getting put on as an apprentice or as an on-the-job training. The best thing to do there is what I love to do, and this is really, really practical, is just going to Google Maps and searching for whatever it is in the area. So let's just say
locksmith or wedding photographers.
Digital marketing agency is a good one, and just seeing what pops up. And we're going to structure our resume in a digital marketing sense, and then we're going to just go in there or call, but I suggest going in if they have a physical presence, and then submitting a resume. Now, just a last pro tip that I will say about this: the Google Maps doesn't always show all of the businesses out there, because that is just the physical businesses. So what I would suggest doing is Googling it as well. Whatever comes up on Google, also submitting to those places as well. Because, for example, if it is not something in the physical world, or like maybe it's a mobile mechanic or something like that, then they won't come up on Google Maps because they don't have a physical location, because they don't have the overhead of an office. You're doing yourself a disservice if you're just doing the Google Map. But Google Maps is a really good way to, especially if you're going into something that is physical, to here you go. And then you can just hit one day, you can hit this side of town, and the other day you can hit this side of town. And then if nothing shows up on Google Maps, then you go to actual Google, and then you just go down the list. And then call is always good. It's a little bit better than emailing. It's a lot more personal. And if there's a number, call. And then obviously if no number, then email.
Yeah. You can also always physically walk in. That doesn't hurt either.
And so that is the second pathway. Find a